Hello there, and welcome to Adela Museo. I am Miss Kelly, your curator for this tour. For the first time, allow me to introduce to you the 3D interactive virtual tour of our one and only La Castella Museum. For an amazing, smooth, and interactive virtual experience, please follow the guidelines of our 3D virtual tour. As you explore each area of the museum and its artifacts, you will be encountering these icons, exclamation marks, and question marks. For a meaningful virtual tour experience, please feel free to interact through these icons. By interacting each exclamation mark, an audio commentary will provide a description of a specific area, while the question mark provides a description of a featured artifact with its actual picture. To interact an exclamation mark, please press Q. For the question mark, which is to inspect a featured artifact, please press E. To complete the virtual tour at your own convenience, a map is provided for you along with a checklist of all the artifacts that is available to interact. Please press M to access the map and press C to access the checklist. When you're done with the tour, please proceed back to the driveway and there you will find me. And now the most awaited part, the tour itself. Enjoy and have fun! Happy touring! Adelante!
Good morning, visitor, and welcome to the La Castilla, home to the founders of Liceo de Cagayan University. My name is Mr. Bart, and I am your narrator for this tour. The La Castilla, the residence of Attorney Rodolfo N. Pilaes and his wife, Mrs. Elsa Pilaes. The name La Castilla was given and blessed by the lady of the house, Mrs. Elsa Pilaes. Its grounds used to be part of a 6-hectare property belonging to the Pilaes family. The original plan for the property was to plant corn and coconut along what was once a 2-lane dirt county road, known as the Kauswagan Road. This thoroughfare provided the only access to these barangays, Kauswagan and the fishing community of Bonbon. In 1976, with the construction of the Marcos Bridge, part of the property was expropriated by the government to give way to the inexorable march of Prague. Today, an abbreviated portion of the original grounds of La Castilla is all that remains of its landscape gardens. Moving on to the next station. This is the driveway, one that gains entrance to La Castilla under a canopy of aging mahogany trees that are lined in both sides of the driveway. The mahogany trees were planted by Dr. Jose Maria Argoles in 1980 to replace what was used to be the rows of cypress. Beneath the trees are also rows of topiaries that usher the guests towards the museum's porch. Moving on to the next station. This is the front porch. La Castilla greets its visitors in this welcoming front porch with original set of rattan living room furniture, circa of 1950. This is one of the Pelaez family's early pieces of furniture. Sturdy canes were used as a brace and frame for each piece that attests to the abundance of fully matured and seasoned rattan vines popularly used at that time. Moving on to the next station.
Scirocco water filter and basin. This American-made Scirocco, a wall-mounted replica of a 2.5 capacity water filter and basin, has intricate bas-relief design of flora and foliage. Household water filters were considered a must in the Philippines after epidemics of cholera hit the islands. Brass deer on a rock. Life-size brass deer with fully grown horns purchased from Thailand. Trade relations between the Philippines and Thailand can be traced all the way back to the active Southeast Asian maritime trade in the 13th century. Both countries are separated by 2,261 kilometers over Vietnam, Cambodia, and the West Philippine Sea, with maritime access through Gulf of Thailand.
This is the private office of Attorney Pelaez. The gentleman of the house always sets up an office in every home he has, and La Castilla was no exception. In one corner is an heirloom Dutch hanging lampshade, circa of 1920. This piece was a veritable fixture in any house of that era. On the wall are framed table napkins, delicately embroidered on piña cloth or pineapple fiber, circa of 1940. These pieces are part of a linen set as a wedding gift for Mrs. Elsa Pelaez on her wedding day. Moving on to the next station.
Hand-carved Nara table and chair. This hardwood office table, with matching executive swivel leather chair, was handcrafted by the inmates of Davao Penal Colony and exhibited at the historic Philippine International Exposition in Luneta, Manila on February 1953, where it was purchased and taken all the way back to Cagayan. It is now in the well-preserved private office of Attorney Pelaez at La Castilla Museo. Piña cloth. Piña cloth embroidery of 2 placemats and table centerpiece, embroidered with flowers and vines. Needlework was a universal habit. Not only clothing but almost every bit of the household linen was embellished with a touch of embroidery, crocheting of lace. Panay Island was the waving center of piña fabric, while Manila and Bulacan were the hubs of embroidery.
This is the living room. This area is located after you exit the private office facing the dining room. The left side is where you will see the covered lanai overlooking the Cagayan de Oro River. Just like the dining room, the living room is another area of the house that showcases different collectible artifacts, antiques, and furniture seating that the Pelaez family have collected over from different places during their travels. Moving on to the next station.
Silverware Cabinet. Silver wedding anniversary gift to Señor Don Vicente Pelaez y Arqueza and Señora Dona Fidela Cuadra Pelaez, parents of Señora Elza P. Pelaez, and given to Dr. Rafaelita P. Pelaez on her wedding day on April 29, 1972. Given together with a glass rectangular tray.
Sala Piazza Nara table. The sola piazza Nara circular dining table for 8 with 4 heavy stands used to be octagonal in shape, given to Senora Elsa P. Pelaez by her father Senor Don Vicente Pelaez of Cebu City. Carved dining room chairs with 2 armrests, 8 without armrest, elaborate carvings of floral, foliate, and without portraiture.
This is the dining room. This is the area of the house that richly exhibits different kinds of collectible housewares and dinnerwares that were mostly used daily by the Pelaez family through 4 generations until they were assigned to the museum. Moving on to the next station. This is the kitchen. The formal kitchen does not have a big area, as it only had minimal activities due to the fact that the La Castilla was not originally envisioned to be the main residence for the family, but later it came to be. The social functions that were held here were either catered or were already prepared at the family's old residence in Rizal Street, which made the kitchen less utilitarian and more ceremonial. Moving on to the next station.
Houseware cabinet. This cabinet is a glassware and tableware items. Is divided into 2 equal parts. Wooden shelves separate the items. This glassware cabinet contains most of the wedding gifts of Attorney Rodolfo Neri Pelaez on their wedding day. Metalwork coat of arms. This artifact is a wall-mounted metalwork coat of arms. The insignia is 40.64 cm by 35.56 cm in size, with a P at the center of a shield and 2 intertwined birds of prey surrounding the shield.
Ceramic grape leaf plate. This ceramic plate has oblique life-size grapes in twisted brown vine for the handle. It was fashioned by Mrs. Pelaez herself, an output of her days when she took lessons in ceramics. The co-founder of Liceo de Cagayan had many interests, most especially in the field of the arts. She was also a practitioner of Ikebana, the Japanese art of flower arranging, and she was trained as an interior decorator from the Rizal Extension University Interior Decorating Correspondence course in Chicago. The Grandfather Clock. There is a corner in the living room of La Castilla Museum where a grandfather clock has always stood. This clock was purchased by Attorney Rodolfo Pelaez in 1969 when the house was blessed. A grandfather clock is also called a floor clock or a long case clock. It stands tall, a piece of furniture that holds the clock faced in a pendulum. Before the advent of digital timekeeping, this is used to be the most reliable technology for keeping time.
Multicolored Louis XIV inspired living room set. Living room set with a matching carved and pierced coffee table with glass top. This was acquired by the family during a vacation in Manila in the summer of 1958.
This is the covered lanai. Its wrought iron grilled archways allows one to catch a glimpse of the garden outside and the Cagayan de Oro River below. These grills take on the arch appearance after it was renovated in 1996 by Dr. and Mrs. Goles from its original linear form. Moving on to the next station.
Butaca rocking chair. Oversized golden Mulavi Butaca rocking chair with cane weave. These lawn chairs or planters chairs are a vestige of the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines. This is one of the objects in the Philippine Antique Collection at La Castilla Museo. Paete wooden rocking horse with a bacatail, bought in Paete, Laguna in the late 1970s. These artifacts stand in the covered lanai of La Castilla Museum, together with a collection of Philippine antique furniture. This child-sized wooden rocking horse has echoes of today's ubiquitous papier map taka horses, but harks back to the wood carving traditions of Paete.
Ceramic cabinet. It is a glass-covered and wooden shelves cabinet. Divided into two parts of glass and wooden cabinet contains most pukawo, blue and white, memory and family rose items.
This is the Blue Room. This room displays the collection of photographs, educational toys, and mostly matchbox toys of the two sons, which were all given by their doting grandfather. Such collection would explain the boys' interest in cars that they both shared with their father and grandfather. Moving on to the next station.
Toy collection shelf. This shelf displays all the toy collections of Rodolphe Cesar and Alain Marc Goles, sons of Dr. Jose Maria Goles and Dr. Rafaelita Pilaes Goles.
This is the Pink Room. This room houses the personal collection of Dr. Rafaelita Pilaes Goles from childhood to adulthood. There are photograph galore that record the passage of the years, school certificates, diplomas, and plaques. A glass cabinet exhibiting mostly souvenirs from trips abroad and gifts, particularly those received on her debut at the Casino Español in Cebu City. Displays of personal collection of jewelry boxes and fancy knickknacks, toys, dolls, and travel memorabilia. Moving on to the next station.
Miniature house. Miniature houseware toys of Dr. Rafaelita Goles, tiny willow pattern ceramic tea set, 4 cups, 4 saucers, 4 plates, sugar milk teapots with 2 covers, 1 silver rectangular tray. Charming tea sets were colorful additions to Mama's out-of-reach display kids climb on stools and look at the bibelots through glass with awe and despair.
This is the music room. This room has a semicircular shape with obvious Hispanic influence, evident by its arch-grilled windows. Such design was personally requested by Mrs. Elsa Pelaez to architect Naomi Dengue during their planning phase in 1967. This music room used to have its centerpieces, a Steinway baby grand piano which was acquired in Hamburg, Germany, and the indoor glass fountain from the couple's Europe tour. Both pieces are still in use and have been transferred to Casablanca, the residence of Dr. and Mrs. Gomez. Moving on to the next station.
Decorative mirror. Set mirror, 2 candle holders, and semi-luna table for wall decoration. Carved wood with floral and foliate apertured prior and painted with old gold paint to make it appear like metalworks. Decorative item Italian vase. Red crystal vase with generous 22K gold gilding. Application of gold to the ceramic body. The gold was used either as leaf or mixed with honey or mercury. From 1855, liquid gold was used, resulting in a strong color when fired. On an angular body with wide, tall mouth and exaggerated shoulders, embossed 5 petals of flowers appliqued on boldly painted white, green, and yellow leaves bouquet.
Italian Murano red vase and plate set. Crafted in red crystal with accents of 22-karat gold gilding. This plate and glass ensemble is made by the Murano's craftsmen of Italy and purchased by the Pelaez family as souvenirs from their travels to Venice, Italy. This is one of many European objects d'art in the museum's collection.
This is the staircase leading to the second floor. It is covered by a red carpet like in the Hades of La Castilla. The balustrade is made of solid antique hardwood and was renovated in 1996. Moving on to the next station. This is the azotea. The all-around azotea or veranda encompasses the second floor. In 1996, during its renovation, the veranda was extended to include the portion where the trellises are now. This feature provides one with an incomparable panoramic view of the Marcos Bridge, while traversing the placid of the Cagayan de Oro River on the east. On the west side is the relaxing view of the La Castilla Garden, as well as the Japanese Garden on the south. It is noteworthy to mention that the splendid view of a full moon rising over the river one can enjoy from this eastern vantage point. Moving on to the next station.
Philips all-transistor radio. La Castilla Museum preserves these artifacts of mid-20th century life so that we can step back in time and experience history, art, and culture. These and other radios with single sideband capability were how Attorney Rodolfo Pelaez keep abreast of international news and pre-TV and CNN days of Cagayan de Oro. Attorney Pelaez heard the news of JFK assassination almost simultaneously as it happened through this Philips all transistor radio.
This is the master's bedroom. The personal effects of Attorney Pelaez are preserved in his original aparador, which is made of golden molave. Its inside cover still bears the obituary notices of his family and relatives, which he himself caused to be published, clipped in, and pasted. Set with a matching tugas cabinet with glass sliding doors, in which his barongs and business suits are nicely hung. Moving on to the next station. This is the daughter's room. This was the room of Dr. Rafaelita Pelaez Goles until the time she got married. For a little while after the wedding, La Castilla became her first home, sharing the room with her husband, Dr. Jose Maria R. Goles. Upon the return from Cebu City, after the birth of their eldest son Rodolphe in 1973, this room was converted into a nursery as Dr. and Mrs. Goles moved to the master's bedroom. Moving on to the next station.
Octagonal Cabinet. Octagonal cabinet of wood and glass of Senora Elsa P. Pelaez, dressing heavy wood carvings at the top and bottom. This cabinet is used for the collection of perfumeries and other knickknacks of Senora Elsa P. Pelaez woodworks. Hexagonal Cabinet. This cabinet is made of glass and wood, depicts Chinese themed flowers and foliage. It is used for the collection of jewelry and dainty items that Senora Elsa P. Pelaez was so fond.
This is the gardens of La Castilla. Every visitor of the Pelaez family has always been impressed by the sheer size of its landscape lawns and gardens, as well as the fantastic view of the mouth of the Cagayan de Oro River and the river itself. The elegance of the house could easily be duplicated elsewhere, but the splendor of the views it offers was something else. Most of their visitors comment. Sadly, the splendid view did not remain for long. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our 3D virtual tour. If you missed some artifacts and some audio commentaries, you may explore and locate them using the map. When done, please proceed to the driveway and you will see Miss Kelly. We would love to hear from you, so please leave a comment and rate your virtual experience. Thank you and have a nice day. Adelante!
Thank you so much for participating our first three-dimensional virtual tour of La Castella Museum. After the credits, please take our short survey and tell us about your virtual experience. Thank you and come again. Adelante.